Hey everyone, welcome back to the AV Playground. In this video, I want to give you guys an update on my first full year with VHS tapes. It all started when my aunt gave us this tape right here, and it's the Aristocats that she found at a thrift store, maybe an antique shop, or wherever, and I was like, wow, the Aristocats on VHS. And sadly, I didn't have a VCR to play this on to make sure it works. So it's been in my collection since late 2024, early 25. And then for some magical reason, I had the urge to get into VHS tapes and buy my own from the thrift store, from antique shops, or wherever I went, just to collect these tapes. And it started to really grow and grow and grow, getting nothing but like Disney movies, live action movies like Annie and Peter Pan and Miracle on 34th Street, Dennis the Menace, Mouse Hunt, Space Jam, and cartoons like Chicken Run and a whole bunch of Disney classics, La Bamba, Hook, E.T., Six Pack, Mr. Holland's Opus, and so much more. And just collecting them over and over, and receiving VHS tapes over the last year or so. And about 4 or 5 months ago, in late August, early September of this past year, I got myself the Panasonic PV 9451 4-head hi-fi stereo VCR. And I was really impressed with the video quality and the sound quality of some of these tapes. And it looks like some of these Disney tapes were well maintained. I mean, a lot of these were well maintained. And they still look great after all these years. I mean, you're talking tapes that are 20 to 30 years old. Because some of them came out in the early 2000s, some of them came out in the 90s. And we have a tape that's 40 years old, almost. And a lot of these older movies are, I guess, were remastered, and some of them are from the 90s. Like La Bamba came out in 98 on VHS. It's the 1998 VHS. Even though the movie came out in the 80s, I don't have the original 80s VHS. And just collecting a lot of my favorite movies on VHS. Most of them I got for $100 at the thrift store, and they were all Disney classics. And then for Christmas, I received my favorite childhood movie of all time on the format I grew up watching it originally, Toy Story on VHS. And watching Toy Story on VHS, it just brought back those childhood memories. Watching it when I was 2 years old on VHS, and then I was about a year old when it came out in theaters back in late 95, early 96. I was like, wow. It brought back the nostalgia. See, that's what drew me to VHS tapes, is the nostalgia and getting into the VHS format. And I wanted to get into the VHS comeback of 2025. Seeing all these videos on YouTube about how the VHS has come back and popularity and just everything, in remembering how bad my personal experience was when I was a kid, when with watching my videotapes on a CRT VCR combo up until we got into DVD. And VHS was the only format I grew up watching in my bedroom. So whenever I wanted to watch a movie, I would have to borrow it from the living room and bring it to my room, pop my VCR, and watch the movie on VHS. There's one Disney movie I would love to get on VHS, The Little Mermaid. Because I remember watching that originally on my TV way, way back in the day. But there's some other Disney movies I would like to find on VHS, and we can watch them on videotape. And when I first popped my first tape in, it brought back the nostalgia, and the quality surely has improved over the years. Like when I popped in A Bug's Life on VHS, this is actually the format, or this is the tape I was watching. This was actually the first tape I was watching on the VCR when I got it, and the nostalgia just came back, and the quality sure has improved over the years because the TVs have improved over the years as well. And you got the clamshell and the artwork and the warm video quality. The sound quality is incredible, especially on the surround sound. And just having a vast majority of movies that are instant classics. And what really makes it more nostalgic is the previews before the movie. So you can see what movies were popular at that time in the 90s and 2000s. Mainly the 90s, because a lot of my Disney tapes are from the 90s or 90s releases. I don't think we have any 80s releases on VHS. Most of them are from the 90s. Like Beauty and the Beast, that's from the early 90s. And Toy Story, that's from the mid 90s. And Tarzan is from the late 90s, early 2000s. So a lot of them are still in pretty good shape. So that means the shelf life is still there, including Inspector Gadget with Matthew Broderick and Robert Everett from 1999. So this is probably from the late 90s, early 2000s. And the collecting has been the most fun, collecting the VHS tapes, watching the VHS tapes and immersing myself in the tapes, and really just sitting down and watching a movie and just not really focusing on pressing the menu button like I do on a Blu-ray and DVD. And just sitting down, popping the tape in, pressing play, and just letting it play. And just sitting there watching the tape. That's something I've never done when I was a kid. Or maybe I have. But we just always fast forward through the previews. But sitting down watching the previews, that's part of the nostalgia. Because we're talking about movies that were instant classics. And I was like, hey, we should add those to my collection from the thrift store, antique shop, or wherever. And seeing my VHS collection grow over this time, and it was just incredible. And it's been an amazing experience collecting the VHS tapes, watching the videotapes, and just immersing myself in the VHS format and really getting myself into the format itself. First time in over 20 years, since 2002. Because 2003 was the first full year of getting into DVD when it was a brand new format, when it became the mainstream. So that means I had to have been at least in the second or third grade when we got DVD. And in 2004, I got my first new CRT, but it was a DVD combo. So a lot of my movies were no longer being bought on VHS, but on DVD. But then all of a sudden, fast forwarding years later, in 2024, 2025, these things started to come back in popularity, and it really sparks that nostalgia, that 90s and 2000s nostalgia. I mean, the video quality is decent, the sound quality is decent, the format is the most simplest format I've ever used in my entire life. I mean, that's coming from a 90s kid, a 90s baby, 2000s kid. Because even in the 2000s, we still had VHS tape for another 2 years in the 2000s, but then DVDs came out and Blu ray. We got advances in technology. Now we have streaming, and now streaming is really going downhill with ads and price hikes and removal of content. Licensing expires. There's a lot of really bad things about streaming compared to the joys of owning a VHS tape, a Blu ray, a DVD, and just anything physical. There's nothing like it. But when VHS came back, there's a piece of nostalgia that's involved in collecting VHS tapes, especially the artwork, the quality of the video, the quality of the audio, the simplicity of popping into a VCR, pressing play, and just letting the tape play all the way through, even through the previews. It really adds to a more theatrical experience. Watching classic movies from a time when movies were so good, and watching on a format when time was simple. But yeah, my first full year has been impressive, very impressive. I mean, I've collected a lot of tapes over this year, and I'm still not done. I still got a long way to go for collecting VHS tapes, and so far I haven't found anything out in the wild. Maybe when I go get my hair cut on Thursday, I'll go down to the thrift store and see what tapes they have, or if they got anything new in the thrift store as of now. Because as a donation station, so we're going to wait for people to donate these tapes to the thrift store. But I feel like I don't know where else in Conway or Myrtle Beach I need to find VHS tapes. Maybe I'll check that other thrift store that's near Palmetto Chevrolet down the road and see if that's the case. But I think that's pretty much it. I mean, so far it's been incredible. And I'm looking forward to the future of my VHS collecting, watching VHS tapes, collecting VHS tapes, and really getting involved into VHS tapes a lot deeper than I did this year. And really expand my horizons beyond Disney movies and cartoons and stuff like that. But if you guys enjoyed it, I will catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and the notification bell so you get notified when I upload a brand new video. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.